There are a huge number of supports available in DCU for all students, but for autistic students in particular, there is an autism-friendly coordinator who oversees that DCU maintains its commitment and its work towards being the world's first autism-friendly university. So there's a huge amount of work that goes on to make sure that DCU is a place that fully supports and embraces its autistic community. There is an emphasis on creating environments which are functional for autistic students. So we have the sensory space. In all 3 campuses there's one, and that has a sensory pod where you have complete control over the environment you're in, and you can kind of go there, and when I go there I turn off all the lights in the pod and I just kind of listen to some relaxing music, and I almost feel like I'm being charged back up and just getting my energy back, and then I can return to, you know, the lecture hall or wherever it is I need to be. You have a lot more control and governance over your supports and over who's aware of your diagnoses in university life than you ever would have had in secondary school. So if you came through DARE, you'll be invited along to the Disability Learning Support Service orientation. I would recommend you go and you meet the team who are in the Disability Learning Support Service. The DLSS service staff are wonderful. They're very warm, they're very caring, and they're very knowledgeable in their own disciplines. They will invite you to register during the orientation, and if you choose not to register, that's okay. Like, you can decide that the DARE route is what got you into college, but from this point onwards you don't want to avail of supports and you don't want to risk having that relationship there. However, if you do register, you'll be taken through how best to transition from secondary school to university life, both in an academic sense and in a more holistic sense. So some of the supports available to autistic students include occupational therapy, which would be help for time management, reaching a balance between work life and social life, and also some study skills. You have assistive technology, and the assistive technology that I use is a dictaphone, which is also a note taker. So my advice would be to register with them, and to register early if you can. There's nothing to lose, but there's a lot to gain, and just because you can get by kind of walking doesn't mean there's anything wrong with trying to run if you get the supports that will enable you to do so. If you need extra support, try and identify the area that you're struggling with, and then the first port of call for me would be to go to the Student Advice Centre, and they can tell you the broad range of supports that are available. So I gave you a snapshot of the Disability Learning Support Service. There's also an access service, which is for students with socioeconomic backgrounds that are disadvantaged. There is a mature students office. There's a finance, fees and budgeting office. There's a sanctuary office, I think, well, officer. There's a huge range of supports, and then there's also just learning supports such as the Maths Learning Centre and the Writing Centre. So I think the main message I try to impart when it comes to supports is that whatever it is that you need, there's been someone before you who has also needed it, and hopefully in DCU they are accommodating enough that if enough people have had that need before you, there'll be a support or a workshop designated for that. So go looking.